If you could change any choices you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices radio show, Holographist Coach, Christine McIver.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy to have you here. Whether you're listening live or you're listening in the replay, or maybe you're watching me on TV across the web, wherever you are watching, maybe it's from your living room. I'm very grateful that you are here. I am Christine McIver. I am the host of Inspired Choices radio show, TV show, podcast, you name it. And I'm also the founder and the CEO of Inspired Choices Network, the platform where we are actually streaming from wherever you are listening or watching. I'm so thrilled to be here. And this is a conversation that I love to have. And there's a lot of different points of view around this topic. And I would love to have you chime in. So if you're listening live and you would like to come and play, challenge what I'm saying, contribute to what I'm saying, have a question, join me at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Join us, jump into the chat room. You'll see it right there on the menu bar. And we are recording live in the studio. We have a link right there for you. You can come and you can join me in the studio right from your computer or from your phone. How does it get any easier than that? So tonight, we are talking about not using competition as a driving force. We are talking about this mainly from the perspective of business, and most things that I discover can be applied to pretty much any area of your life. And competition is an absolute big one. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. Check out the shows that I have done previously, podcast and in video, audio and video podcasting, and on TV. I've been talking about a great many topics around business. And business is my jam. I love to play in business. I love to share from a business perspective. I like to challenge people around their business and their thoughts about business, what's working, what's not working, and so on. And so my topics most recently are really looking at it from a business perspective. Last week, we were talking about business by default or by desire. Now, that may sound like a very simple topic. It may seem very easy for you to get a thought on that, but I can tell you for 55 minutes, we were unpacking that. And there was a lot of things that came up that surprised many of my listeners who commented and wrote into me. So we do dive very, very deep into these business conversations, and all with the perspective of showing you some of the spaces and places where you might be wondering, why am I not moving forward? Why is my business not growing? Why am I having these types of challenges? We really look at it from a very simplistic and action-oriented perspective. All right. Moving you forward quickly is my desire when it comes to business, for sure. And the week before that, we talked about desire as well, desire without action. So both of those shows really led up to what we're talking about tonight. So tonight we're talking about not using competition as a driving force. Is competition keeping you awake at nights? Like, tell the truth. Is that something that you think about? Is that something that's been in your thought patterns? Do you try not to think about it, and yet in trying not to think about it, you're actually thinking about it even more? Do you get that proverbial kick in the butt from what your competition is doing? Oh my God. How many of you out there get so angry when you're seeing what other people are doing and finding yourself, or how many of you can honestly be vulnerable enough with yourself to say, you know what? I'm feeling that energy of anger, jealousy, and competition rising in me when I see so and so, and I see so and so, and I see so and so. Seeing what these people are doing is ticking me off. Well, what is underneath some of that is definitely going to be the competition energy. So it's important you start to acknowledge that. What if you could use the competition energy to your advantage? Have you ever thought about using it to your advantage? And I don't mean from the perspective of, oh, they're in competition. Oh, fine. I'm just going to use my forceful energy with competition and compete even harder. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about using the energy of competition and your awareness around it as a catalyst to start to shift what is actually holding you back. So, as much as people think that if they go into competing, and I'm not talking from the perspective of um, competition from a play energy, competition from a, oh, let's challenge each other so we can both move forward energy. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a competition in a sport. All right. I am talking about competition from the perspective of you lose, I win. That energy, right? That forceful energy. And honestly, I don't know anybody in business that has not experienced that energy, that rise that comes up on us to some degree or another. And I'm going to tell you why I know this. First of all, if you are someone who's an entrepreneur, all right, and someone who's an entrepreneur from the perspective of you created something from a desire from within you, not that you saw what people were doing out there making money and you thought you would mimic that and make money as well. That's not an entrepreneur in my interesting perspective. Okay. But if you're coming from business in where you got an awareness of how you would do business, and there may be aspects that are like others, but you're showing up and you're doing it differently, you are an aware person. Okay. Period. You are an aware person. These energies of possibilities, as we're asking for more, like, "God, I wish I had a creative idea. I wish I could think of something that would make money." When we're asking that, whether we acknowledge that it's the universe is answering our desires or not, when we're asking from that perspective, we are in the space of awareness. Okay. And when you are in the space of awareness, and more people are more aware than they know, when you're asking from that perspective, what's actually going to also occur is you are going to become aware of where other people are operating from. Okay. You just are. It's kind of like you buy a yellow car and all you see is yellow cars. When you go into business and you start to see the different aspects of operating within business, you start to see and really pay attention and notice where other people are operating from in business. And one of those prime areas of where people operate from is from competition. Now, what some people are doing with this competition is they are watching what somebody else does and they're like, oh, I see what he's doing. I see what she's doing. I'm going to just change that a little bit and I'm going to make that mine. I'm going to steal it, but it's not really stealing because I changed the name, right? That is competition. 100% that is competition. And that is trying to really get one over on somebody else's creations. All right. So, first of all, let's read the original definition from the online etymology dictionary for competition. Competition is a noun, it's an action of seeking or endeavor to gain what another is endeavoring to gain at the same time. Oh my God. I absolutely love that definition. All right. Let me read that for you one more time. Action. It is the action of seeking or endeavoring to gain what another is endeavoring to gain at the same time. So you're both trying to do the same thing, right? And you're competing against each other. It's a rivalry. That's another part of the definition. It's a rivalry. And it is a noun of action from past principle stem of competry, meaning a contest for something, a trial of skill as a test of superiority. Oh my God. So, how many of you out there are testing that you are superior by using competition? And if you have to prove you are trying to show people what you are and you're using the proving, I'm proving, who you really are proving to is yourself. That's the truth around proving. And we're not going to dive deep into proving tonight because we're talking about competition. But understand that when you are trying to prove, you are trying to prove to yourself, because when you know something about yourself, when you know what you are, when you know who you are, when you know your capacities and your skills and how brilliant they are, you just be that. You show up and you do it. You don't have to scream from the mountaintops, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I can get on top of the mountain. I'm on top of the mountain. Do you see me? Do you see me? You don't have to do that. You just climb to the top of the mountain and people go, wow, Christine's at the top of the mountain, right? You just be it and you show up. You don't have to prove anything. So, how much is the competition really that you are proving you are as good as or better than someone? And underneath all of that, underneath this need to compete and to prove, is a deeper energy of fear, of inadequacy, of scarcity. Scarcity is really one of the greatest energies that is under the energy of competition. Because when you know what you know and you're operating from that pleasure space, you're operating from that generative creation space, you do not have to prove anything. You are not scarce at anything. Now, I can tell you, when I first started out in my business, I had a couple of ideas of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do them. And I did have a period of time, and I would really call it more like a growth period, not a dry period, but it was a time of getting to know me and really coming out of the you should do it this way space and really getting to know who I was and what I was enjoying. And that was when those generative creative energies started to move. And I remember very, very clearly watching a lot of colleagues, a lot of people that were in the same type of industry that I was in, watching them on social media, primarily on Facebook at the time, and thinking, "Ah, how come they've got it all and I don't?" And that, my friends, that moment is where the switch can flip and you can go into the competition. That's the moment when you see what other people are being and doing and creating, and you're in that space of, I don't have that. And it is out of a need, it's out of a desire, but it's also out of the energy of scarcity, of lack. So the big thing that I know that most people are lacking is the how to tap into their creativity. The what turns them on. The how do I find that within me that lights me up? Because I'm watching this person over here be prosperous. I'm watching this person over here be happy and joyful. I'm seeing people that are showing up in their lives with true pleasure. I'm seeing people during COVID that are, yes, they miss hugging people. Yes, they're struggling um to find their footing in this change, but I still see them joyfully creating. Those are the people that are not operating from competition, from scarcity, or from lack. They know who they are and they lean into it. So how many of you out there are ready now to lean into you, to lean into your creativity, and to pull out of the energy of competition, the energy, the true energy of scarcity and lack? You know, there is nothing scarce in the universe. Absolutely nothing is scarce in the universe. But what we are doing when we are operating from that really, it's like you've heard of writer's block, right? When you're operating from that block in creativity, in thoughts, in the how-tos, when you're operating from that block, you're cutting off receiving. And when you're cutting off receiving, you absolutely are going to cut out everything, right? You're going to cut out every aspect of receiving prosperity, ideas, pleasure, joy. You're going to cut it all off. And when you're cutting it off, think of yourself like, you're drowning, right? And you're just reaching to grab anything. And what a lot of people do is they will grab onto what other people are doing and try to compete, mimic, duplicate, steal, all of those energies. And when we get back, we're going to pop off for our first break, but I really want you to think about what I'm saying and be willing to be vulnerable with where you have had that occur, where you've had that come up. If you're willing to be vulnerable, you can change things so damn fast, it'll blow your mind. I am telling you, I know it because I've lived this. All right. And when we get back, we're going to talk about what is really going on within us when we allow the competition energy to dissipate and what is actually happening with us when we're dancing with it repeatedly and we're allowing it to actually control us. Okay, my friends, you're listening to the Inspired Choices radio show, TV show here on the Inspired Choices Network. I'm Christine McIver. I can't wait to have you back after the break. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Back to the program. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm loving this show. I don't know about you, but when things really start to open up and we really start to get that big awareness about what's occurring and what might be blocking, we start to get the change. So are you ready for really diving deep into what's stopping this huge expansion in your joy, in your pleasure, and in your bank account? And, think about this. Anytime that I'm talking about business, I want you to think about as well, think about in not just your business, but think about everything from the perspective of your career as well, because most of the time it will mirror and duplicate exactly the same. Okay. So let's talk about if you choose to stay in competition, or if you choose to dip in and out of competition with somebody, let's talk about what you're actually inviting in. The first thing that you are inviting in that comes to my mind is you are inviting in lack. Because if you believe competition is real and you can choose it, but it's something that you have to create. It's not something that's already there. All right? If you choose to create competition and keep pulling that into your world again and again and again, you believe that there is lack and scarcity in the world. Number one, you believe that if you have to compete, there's not enough for you. Okay. That is a really, really huge thing. So really look at that, because if you believe that and you're operating from that pretense, then you are pulling that to you again and again and again. All right. If you say you're fat and you keep saying you're fat and you say I'm fat and I'm fat and I'm fat and I'm fat, your body and your whole energy is going to vibrate at that level, and then you will create it. Now, I'm not talking about big, beautiful bodies that are happy and joyful. I'm talking about the energy of I'm fat and there's a wrongness. So it's this size and it's bad. Okay. And I'm not talking about any size. It could be a size 2. Somebody would think they're fat. It could be a size 50 and somebody thinks they're fat. Anywhere at all, when you're using those words, you're in a place of judgment, right? So when you are actually in this place of competition, you're judging yourself. You're judging that there's not enough in the world. And you're also saying to yourself, and you're saying to your business and to those that are watching you. And let me tell you something. People are watching you in the creation of your business. They may be passively watching you, but they're watching you. There's always someone that is noticing what you are doing, not from a a stalker perspective, but really they're watching you, right? And when you are in that space of competition, you are putting out the energy of scarcity, you're putting out the energy of lack, and at the same time what you are doing is, oftentimes when people are operating from competition, they're operating from the space of, I got to keep this secret. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want that person to know that I just stole that from, or I'm mimicking, or, whatever. They're trying not to get caught. So let me ask you, if you're trying not to get caught, whether it's 1% energetically or 100% energetically, how can you really show up? How can you really show up and be visible and be discovered by the people that are looking for what you have to offer? And when you're in that energy of competition and lack and scarcity, okay, it's a more dense energy, and it's, for description purposes only, it's a heavier energy, it's a lower energy. And so when you're not, that's not who you are, that's not who any of us are. It's what we sometimes choose to be in. But when you're operating from that space and that energy consciously, you're saying to the rest of the world, this is where I am. And those people that actually would be a prosperous match to you and your products and your services will not be able to find you, because energetically you're not putting that out. It's kind of like a signal. The signal, you're listening to a signal right now on radio or TV, that signal would be disconnected. There would be fuzz on the line. They would not be able to find you. Okay. So that's what's happening with your prospective clients and customers, your prospective opportunities, your prospective employers, all of that. The energy that would bring you joy and pleasure and prosperity, the energy of the people you want to hire you, employers, competitor or customers, clients, even lovers, when you're operating from that space of competition and the ones that would be a prosperous contribution to you, when you're in competition, it's not a match energetically, my friends. You are going to keep missing the mark again and again and again. And if you say, you have a desire on your heart and you have a dream and you want to move in that direction, you've got to give up the competition. Competition is a lie. It's 100% a lie, because you cannot compete with another individual, because each and every single one of us is unique. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you some examples. One of my very first professions was, first of all, I was in human resources for 20 plus years. And then I moved in and I got my professional coaching training. Now, you know, that was, 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago that I moved into that arena. And even back then, it seemed like everybody, you turn around and there's another life coach, there's another life coach. And that term has been overly used a great deal. And I love now that people are kind of specifying what type of coach they are. I've specified that I'm a holographist coach. And what that means from my perspective is, instead of working in the future, we actually step into your hologram of your desires right now, and we operate in creating the life that you desire here and now. And as a holographist coach, I'm your guide into your hologram, and through your hologram, expanding and growing and contributing. So that's what I do. That's the type of coach that I am. All right. But when there, like I said, 12 years ago, there was a lot of different life coaches out there. And I can remember when I first, went into this profession, I'm like, oh my God, why would someone choose me over someone else? And, they're probably a better life coach than I was. Right. So my insecurities started to come to the surface, which is a good thing that they came to the surface, because if these things, these insecurities or these bumps in the road don't come to the surface, you cannot change it. You cannot become aware of it. So right now, if you're aware that you're doing competition, or you sometimes step into doing competition, or that you did do competition in the past rather, I want you to get excited, because as you become aware that that energy and that is something that you have chosen, now you see it. Now you're consciously aware of it. Now, my friend, you have choice. I mean, we always have choice, but sometimes we're operating from this unconscious perspective. But now that you're aware of it, this is great. It's like, wow, look at how I was doing competition there. And so now you can change it, right? So what is happening with your customers and your clients and your lovers and employers and everyone, when you're operating from competition, the true ones that can contribute to you can't find you. Well, guess what's happening to you? Guess what's happening to you and your body and your emotions and your mental state? As you are operating from competition, you are buying a lie that you do not have your own creative capacities. You're operating from the lie that you do not have every single molecule of possibilities within you that any other being on the planet has. You see, the difference between someone else and yourself is just choice. We all have it. You can't take it away from someone. We all have choice. And I'm not getting into wars, and I'm not getting into racism. I'm not getting into all of that space from this perspective of conversation. But when you live in a free world and you have the choice to create a business, let's say, you have free will, you have choice. And when you are choosing to stay in the um, actions of competition, you are buying the lie that you do not have the capacities. You are actually letting yourself down, and you're letting your business down. And what that is going to do to your body, to your physical body, is it's going to start to impact it. You might feel ailments in your body. You might be very tired, have a difficult time kind of getting up and moving. It's going to impact every energetic level as well as your physical level. What this is going to do from your emotional state is it's going to move you into a level of stress that is going to start waning on your adrenals. All right. There's Eurostress. Eurostress is that fun play competition where it's like, I bet I can finish this before you. And that actually, that type of stress fuels you forward, right? It's kind of like the wind beneath your wings. It really gets you moving and get you going. That's a fun energy. But if you are operating from that energy of competition, and that's going to start to stress you out, it's going to have you on edge, it's going to impact your adrenals. When those are impacted, it's going to start to put mental stress on you. It's going to begin to impact your sleep. All of that, of course, is going to impact your bank account. It's going to impact who and for what reason is going to be attracted to you. So if you find yourself operating from the energy of competition, I want you to look around now, or if you had at any time, look at the people that were choosing you. Look at the people that were choosing to hire you, look at the people that you were in relationships with. What type of individual were they, and where were they operating from at that time? Think about that right now. All of these aspects, when we really step back and we take a big macro view of the whole thing and we see ourselves within it, we can see all of the players and all of the impact that's happening. And that is a really important thing for you to be consciously aware of all of those pieces. We're going to go for our second break of the night. When we get back, we're going to keep diving into this, and we're going to look at what you can do to move beyond the competition, all right? To move out of that energy that maybe has you locked, and it might be paying some of the bills, but it's not fun. Move you out of those energies into your natural capacity to create. You're listening to Inspired Choices here on the Inspired Choices Network. I'm Christine McIver. I look forward to having you come back after this break.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure au Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am incredibly grateful for each and every listener that joins, that comments on the post, that sends me emails. It actually is so enlightening to know that what you're bringing to the table actually contributes. And if that's something that you're looking to do, if you really want to see if you can make a mark in the world with what you know, and I know that you can, this is a wonderful opportunity to bring your voice and your image out into the world with total ease. We have a team of professionals here at Inspired Choices Network. We work with you to make what you love to do so easy to bring it out. We are the mouthpieces for your message. We take care of all of the details and really support you to make your image, your sound, your everything that you're creating to make it absolutely beautiful and an invitation for others to find you. So you can connect with me, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca if you have any questions or you really want to find out about what is this podcasting thing? What is this radio thing? What is this TV thing? We would love to share that with you. If you are looking for a little bit more direct support, if you're looking for someone that can help guide you to really get your business revved up, maybe revived, maybe really getting it out there because you're kind of overwhelmed with all the places and spaces online, I absolutely love doing that. I have a strategic business package that I work with business professionals who are doing a lot of creating, but don't actually know how to get the foundation in place, how to get it organized, and how to be able to operate within it once it's all set up. That's something that I do. I love doing that. Oh my gosh. I was talking to somebody today and they told me that they had 4,000 emails. And I'm like, oh, please let me take over your computer someday and organize it, because that's something that I like doing. I know I'm a little weird. Anyways, my friends, we are talking tonight about competition. We're talking about not using competition as a driving force. If you're just joining, please go back and listen to the two first segments, because to me, they're vital for you to understand what competition is, the impact it has on people trying to find you, the impact it has on your body, your business, your bank account, has on your joy, has on your mental state, the whole bit. Let's talk about creation now, because most people are doing competition because creation is not ease for them, or they've maybe bought the lie that there's scarcity in ideas in the world. How many of you, let's take it back even 20 years. How many of you 20 years ago went, oh my gosh, like this computer thing, like there can't be more. Like that's got to be everything that's created in the world. There's no new innovative ideas, right? Oh my gosh. I remember having that conversation with so many people that were like thinking about, yeah, Keisha agrees, that were thinking about starting their own business. And when they were starting their own business, thinking about, oh my gosh, like I can't invent something. Like everything's been invented. Like, oh my God, no, there is always going to be more creative ideas. And if you kind of think of it like, oh, I don't know what you would call it, but like as if there's a bubble, and when you burst the bubble, 50 more bubbles come out, and you burst those 50 and 50 more come out, and so on and so forth. Whenever there's a new creation, there's new ways of looking at it. There's new possibilities of working with it. And that's where new ideas can come again and again and again from it. All right. Even, a couple of years ago, just having a few social media platforms, and then they suddenly more social media platforms come out. And I know that a lot of people go into, oh my God, I cannot handle another one. Oh my God, like, why would I? But whenever you do that, you're cutting off receiving as well. Okay. So just pay attention to that. Pay attention to where you cut off. That's ridiculous. We don't need more. That's enough. Da 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 da. You're stopping your growth and your expansion and your contribution to those expansions and what you can receive from those creations. Okay. That's really super important. So that was one thing that would pop in my mind is like, how can there be more creative ideas? There are more all of the time. We do live in an ask and you shall receive universe. We do. The energy that you be when you're curious, the energy that you be when you're in play and desire is attractive, and you are attracting more to you. And so if you would choose to be in a playful energy with creation around contributing to your business, new things can open up. But you, my friend, you've got to be in the energy of receiving, and you've got to be willing to know that there's all sorts of ideas in the world, and they're waiting to be discovered. They are totally waiting to be discovered. I'll never forget a dear friend of mine who actually started in the radio network with me, Carol Glover. Her and I, shout out Carol, her and I were actually both kind of in that space with our businesses where we knew we wanted to create, but we didn't know what we wanted to create. We were really feeling stuck. And so I said, well, why don't we get together? And so we got together and we were both sitting at our desks with our pens and our paper and okay, now what? It was like, just hit a wall, right? There was like, there was nothing there. It was just a solid wall of no change. And so what we did was I said, you know what, let's get out of here. Let's go for a walk. I lived right by the water. There was birds, there was trees, it was flowers. It was gorgeous. And so as we got out and we were in the energy of willing to receive all sorts of creative ideas, we started to have fun and we were laughing and we were playing. And when we were in that space, when we returned to my home, we didn't go back to that same energy of getting a pen and paper and write down ideas. We got back into playing with possibilities and we were like, well, what would be fun? Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. And Carol said something like, well, how much do people in business not play? And oh my gosh. And the next thing we knew is these creative ideas started to come out of that. And we created a really fabulous day of creation. And I know that that day was a huge contribution to my business and me stepping into creative ideas. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it that way. That's an example of getting into creativity. But if you think that ideas and creative ideas and sparking new ideas is going to come to you when you're sitting staring at a computer with a paper and a pen, you're wrong. They're not going to come that way. They might come in fun conversations. They might come when you go out and you are playing with your children. They might come when you are rolling with your animals on the carpet. They might come when you are out in nature. They might come when you're dancing to music. You've got to be willing to do it differently in order to receive something different. If you're always doing something the same way, and if you've been in business one day, 1 year, or however long, and you haven't been in that creative energy, and you've got to do something different. Are you willing to do what it takes to receive creative ideas that are trying to come to you, to your business, and to your bank account? Are you? How willing are you? I can tell you that I just about blew up my business at one point. I was down to, pennies in the bank. I was down to 1 or 2 clients and things were not looking hopeful. And it was that moment where I said, okay, whatever it takes, I'm willing to do anything. I don't care what it is. If I have to go work at McDonald's, okay, so be it. I was willing to do whatever it was. I didn't decide that's what I had to do, but I just said, I am willing to do anything. And I energetically just opened up and I said, bring it. Bring it. I'm ready. I'm ready to look at anything and everything. I got out of my stuck mind that business had to show up in a certain way that it always had, or what I had decided. And I was willing to do whatever it was. And I was willing to stop judging myself in those choices. Well, I'll tell you, my friends, in doing that, the opportunity of producing radio shows was presented to me. And because I consciously was being in that space of, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to look at every opportunity that comes my way. I'm willing to say yes. I'm willing to say yes. I'm willing to say yes. Because of that, the opportunity came to me and I didn't brush it aside. This opportunity to produce radio shows would not have come to me had I not been willing to receive something different, because I would have had the walls up to receiving something different. I was willing for the universe, for my business, for everything to conspire and to whip me into alignment with the prosperity that my business was willing to contribute to me. But I had to get out of my own way. And I had to stop the lie that I had to compete with someone else in order for me to create. Because competition and creation, while they seem like they would align, it's like two magnets polarizing against each other and being pulled away. I hope that makes sense. Competition is a lie. Creativity is your given birthright. You are a creation that is absolutely unlike anything ever in the entire universe. To embody a human body, to come into embodiment, is the greatest creation in the world. And for you to be that and to show up in that and to be willing to embody, you, my friend, have more cells of creation than you've ever even imagined. All right, we're going to take our last break. Stick around. We're going to be closing up pretty soon, but I don't want you to miss the end of it. So stay tuned. You're listening to Inspired Choices with Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email. by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Okay, my friends, now we're going to get serious. I have my serious glasses on. I want you to be serious. Get serious about not doing competition. Get serious about pleasure with your business. Are you ready to get serious? Okay, I'm just kidding. But if you seriously desire to have more, to receive more, to create more, it's got to come from an authentic space. It really does. In order for you to receive joy, it's so critical that you be in that space of desiring joy and knowing that joy is available to you. So with that analogy, I want you to ask yourself, do I believe that creative ideas, new creative ideas are available to me? Do I know in my heart of hearts that creation is a natural state of being? Do I know that I came here to contribute to the world in my unique way, the way that I show up, the way that I do things? Do you know that prosperity, and I mean big prosperity with finances, prosperity with clients, prosperity with lovers, prosperity with friends, prosperity with your body, prosperity with your environment? Do you know that that is available to you? Do you know it in your bones? Or do you have doubt in there? Do you have worry? Do you know that you're operating from a space of lack, or do you desire to and wish that you knew it to be true? That's a step. This only requires a step, my friends. Seriously, all of this is available to you, but the place you've got to get to first is knowing that it is available to you. There's no one in the world that deserves it more than you deserve it. The universe does not do competition. The universe does not reward one person over another. The universe does not say, okay, tree, you've been pushing it a little bit. You don't get to have as many beautiful flowers. And this tree over here does. Oh, that flower. Yeah, you guys have been really ticking me off. So you've kind of been taking up a lot of extra space here in the garden. So we're actually going to take that away. No. You've got to understand that as superior as we are to the possibilities of what we can create, we are not beyond the same things that nature is. And nature, look around you, is continuously prospering. Nature did not slow down during COVID. Why would you? Nature doesn't have a point of view on how it shows up, how often it shows up, and what is possible. Right? Nature does not. Why do you think you will have limitations? Why? Because somebody else did that you were looking at? How about you stop looking over there and you start to get in touch with this amazing being that's within you, and you start to really dance with and play with you, and you start to really dance with and play with your business and allow your business to show up and have fun with you. There are an infinite amount of possibilities and creative ideas that start to flow when you are willing to receive and you are coming from the space of knowing it's available to you. I don't have enough time to tell you a story, but I'll tell you the synopsis, a very small piece of it. There was a piece of my business that was blocked, and it was blocked for 2 years that I knew something else was possible, but I was always in the, are we ever going to get this? Are we ever going to get this? And there was something that changed about 2 months ago. And I went, you know what? I know absolutely 100% that if I think it, it's possible. 100%. If I think it, it's possible. So I'm just going to stay in the energy of thinking it, and I know it's going to come. And very shortly after that, it did. My friends, competition's not real. Creative is your birthright. It's all about choice. Connect with me. I would love to support you. I would love to help move you forward. And I'd love to hear your voice on the airwaves, knowing and sharing with all of us. Until we meet next time, my friends, remember, you can always make another choice. Bye for now.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.